The crashed stars were quiet that night. Jack Harper sat alone inside his small maintenance ship. Orbiting an empty part of space, he was a human engineer. Working on an old research station far from Earth, the place was boring, silent, and forgotten. He didn't mind it. After years of war and noise back home, silence was peace. Jack drank his cold coffee and stared at the dark sky outside. He leaned back, thinking about going to sleep, when a strange sound broke the silence. Beeps beep. Beeps. His ship's scanner had picked up something. Jack leaned forward and looked at the screen. Unidentified signal detected. Location, Sector 1 to be, restricted zone. Jack blinked. The restricted zone? That area was supposed to be empty, dangerous, off limits. Nobody was allowed to fly there. Not even drones. He hesitated. He should report it to command, but they'd take hours to respond, maybe days. The signal was weak. If it was a life form, it might not survive that long. Just a quick look, Jack whispered to himself. He started the engine. The ship turned and flew into the dark. As he entered Sector 12B, the stars seemed to disappear. Clouds of space dust floated around him. Static filled his screen. The signal was louder now. Then he saw it. A small ship, no, a pod, was floating in space. It looked like it had been hit. Burn marks covered its surface. Parts were broken. Smoke floated around it like a shadow. Jack's heart beat faster. He moved closer. Life form detected. The ship's AI said. Condition critical. Jack grabbed his helmet and suit. He opened the airlock and floated toward the pod. The metal felt cold and dead. He found the door half open. Carefully, he pushed it wider. Inside, it was dark, and then he saw her. She was lying on the floor of the pod, barely breathing. Her skin was pale silver, glowing faintly. Her hair floated around her like white silk. She looked almost human, but not quite. Her face was peaceful, but her body was covered in cuts and bruises. Strange symbols were glowing on her arms. A soft hum came from a small device on her chest. Jack stared for a moment, then moved fast. He lifted her gently, surprised by how light she was. As he pulled her toward his ship, a loud warning blared. Warning, species class, unknown. Contact is forbidden by Earth regulation for 141. Jack ignored it. She's dying, he muttered. I'm not leaving her here. He brought her into his ship and laid her on the medical bed. The AI scanned her again. Vital signs, low, unknown. Alien biology, emergency care started. Jack sat beside her, watching the machines try to help. He had so many questions. Who was she? Where did she come from? Why was she alone? She looked peaceful now, like she was just sleeping. The ship moved away from the crash site. Jack sent a quick message to the station. Just a report about space debris found. He didn't mention the girl. He didn't know why, but he felt he had to protect her. As the ship returned to the station, Jack watched the stars. He had a strange feeling in his chest, like something big had just started, something he didn't understand yet. Then her eyes opened. Jack jumped. Her eyes were bright blue, glowing like stars. She looked around, confused. Her lips moved, but the words made no sense. Easy, Jack said, raising his hands. You're safe. She stared at him, breathing hard. She looked scared. Jack spoke slowly. You were hurt. I found you in the crash. I'm Jack. She said something in her language. It sounded soft, like music. Then she pointed to herself. Lyra, she said. Jack nodded. Lyra, for a moment. They just looked at each other. Two strangers, lost in the stars. Then suddenly, the ship lights flickered. A new alert appeared on the screen. Long-range signal detected. Tracking unknown object incoming at high speed. Jack frowned. Who else is out here? He looked at Lyra. She had gone pale. She whispered something quickly, eyes wide with fear. She pointed at the screen and shook her head. Jack didn't know her words, but her fear was clear. Whoever was coming, she didn't want them to find her. He stood up fast. Don't worry, he said. I won't let them take you. Outside the window, a dark shape appeared in the distance. The chase had already begun. The awakening asterisk. The stars moved slowly outside the window. Jack didn't sleep that night. He sat beside the strange alien girl Lyra as the medical lights glowed softly in the room. Machines beeped and blinked, scanning her alien body. He watched her chest rise and fall slowly. Her breathing was weak, but steady. Jack had seen many things in deep space: rogue ships, broken satellites, strange signals, but never anything like this. A living, breathing alien, not just some distant creature on a far planet. She looked almost human, and she was scared, very scared. Her pod wasn't just damaged, it had been attacked. Jack leaned back in the chair, eyes on the stars, mind full of questions. Why was she running? Why was she alone? Who was chasing her? And then bang, the lights flickered again. The engines made a low grinding noise. Jack stood up quickly and checked the controls. The long-range scanner was still active. The unknown object was still following them. Closer now. To close. Estimated arrival, 6 hours, the ship's AI said in a cold voice. Object class, unknown, speed, high, threat level, uncertain. Jack cursed under his breath. He had to act fast. He looked back at Lyra suddenly. She gasped, her fingers twitched. Her glowing blue eyes opened again, wider this time. Alert, afraid, she sat up quickly. Breathing fast, looking around the room like a trapped animal, Jack raised his hands. It's okay, he said slowly. You're safe, you're on my ship. Lyra looked at him, her eyes scanning his face. She whispered something in her language again, soft, musical but filled with fear. Then she grabbed her chest where the strange glowing device was attached. It blinked with soft blue lights. Her face went pale. No, she said, her voice trembling. They found me. Jack stepped closer. Who found you? She looked at him, eyes wide. Hunters, she said. They follow signal, the bond. The bond is active now. Jack frowned. What bond? She touched her chest, then his hand. Life saved, life linked. Jack stared at her, confused. Wait, is this about what my ship said earlier? That the mating bond? Lyra nodded slowly. Virelin law, life debt becomes soul link, marriage. Jack blinked. You mean we're married? She didn't understand the word, but her eyes said it all. Yes. Before Jack could respond, the ship's alarm beeped again. Message incoming, language unknown, source hostile. On the screen, strange red symbols appeared. A voice crackled through the speakers, low, metallic, cold. Jack couldn't understand the words, but Lyra did. She stood up, shaking, and backed into the wall. Her lips trembled. They say, return me, or both die. Jack looked at her. Why are they after you? Lyra looked down. My people's gone. I'm last. I carry memory core. They want it. What's in it? Hope, she whispered. And a weapon. Jack's heart dropped. A weapon. She nodded. One they fear. One they want to control. Jack ran his fingers through his hair. You're telling me I rescued the last survivor of a powerful alien race, gave her a soul bond by accident, and now an unknown enemy wants to kill us both for it? She looked confused, but said, yes. He stared at the screen. The object was even closer now. No time to waste. We can't outrun them, Jack said, but we can hide. I know a place. He turned the ship toward an old mining field full of asteroid rocks, dark and silent. Many ships avoided it because of navigation risks, but Jack knew how to move through it. The ship shook as they entered the field. Rocks passed by like sleeping giants. Inside, the lights dimmed. Jack powered down everything except life support. No signals, no movement, silence. He sat beside Lyra again. She watched him closely now, her eyes softer. You don't fear me? She asked. Jack shook his head. No, I don't fear people who are running. She paused. I ran for years, lost my family, my home, everything. Jack nodded. I lost people too. They sat in silence, two souls from different worlds, now linked by fate. Then, suddenly the screen lit up again. A new message appeared. But this time, it was from Earth Command. Jack opened it. Unauthorized rescue detected. Return alien life form immediately. You are in violation of Intergalactic Code 7. Failure to comply will result in arrest. Jack's eyes narrowed. Earth wanted Lyra to, not to save her. To steady her. To use her. He looked at her, now asleep again beside him, her body tired, her breathing soft. He made a choice. He turned off the Earth signal. He turned off all trackers. He set a new course farther from Earth, farther from the enemy. Where? He didn't know yet. But he knew this. He wouldn't let anyone take her. Not Earth, not the hunters, not anyone. Not while he was alive. Married to an alien, the ship floated in silence among the shadows of dead asteroids. Jack had shut down everything except basic life support. Power was low. Food supplies were running out, but at least for now they were safe, or so he hoped. He sat in the dark, watching Lyra as she rested. Her skin glowed faintly even in sleep, like a soft light under her skin. The strange glowing band on her chest, the bond mark, still pulsed with slow, steady light. Jack turned back to his tablet, trying to read whatever data the ship had collected about her species. But there was almost nothing. Species, Virelin. Contact level, forbidden status, extinct, myth bond protocol. Activated. That last part made him pause again. Bond protocol. He didn't fully understand what had happened, but it was real. When he saved her life, something triggered between them. Some kind of cultural or biological link. And now, her people considered them married. Jack sighed. I just pulled her from a dying ship. That's not marriage, that's first aid. But the ship disagreed. Bond confirmed by Virelin law. The AI had said, mating rights transferred. Protective status granted. He closed the screen and rubbed his eyes. Everything was moving too fast. First the crash, then the warning signals, then Lyra, then the hunters. And now, this strange connection. Jack looked at her again. She wasn't just an alien. She was the last of her kind, carrying some kind of memory core. Something that could change everything. And because of one moment, one choice, he was now a part of it. Suddenly, Lyra stirred, her eyes opened slowly, glowing in the dim light. She looked around. Then at Jack, her voice was soft. "We are safe for now," he said, "but Earth sent a message. They know you're with me. They ordered me to hand you over." Lyra sat up slowly, fear growing in her eyes. "They will come, I know." He hesitated, then asked, "This bond between us, what does it mean to your people?" She looked down at the glowing mark on her chest. "In my world, to save a dying life is not just kindness," she said. "It is connection. Life energy becomes shared. Our bodies remember the touch. The moment you pulled me out, I felt your soul." Jack blinked. "My soul," she nodded. "Now your heartbeat affects mine. My pain affects you. That is why the bond formed." He stared at her. "So we're connected like that, for real?" "Yes," she whispered. "Forever." Jack stood up, pacing. "This is insane. I'm just a mechanic. I fix engines." "I'm not." He stopped. "I'm not a husband." Lyra tilted her head. "We do not have the same word, but I know what you mean. This bond is not just words, it is choice. Even now, you can still leave me, break the link." Jack looked at her. "And what happens to you if I do?" She hesitated. "The bond breakings would damage me. My core is linked to yours now. Without you, I will fade." He sat down slowly, heart heavy. He hadn't asked for this. But she hadn't either. Then suddenly beep, beep, beep. The ship's scanner came alive again. Jack jumped to his feet. New signal detected. Unknown vessel. Stealth mode. Range 4,000 kilometers and closing. Jack's hands moved fast. "That's not Earth. That's too quiet." Lyra stood up too, her eyes glowing brighter. "It is them, the ones who hunt." Jack activated the engines carefully. "Not enough power to run. Just enough to move. We need to go. They will find us anyway," Lyra said. "They follow the bond signal. I can try to hide it." She sat down and placed her hands on the bond mark. Her skin began to glow brighter. The air around her shimmered. Jack stared. "What are you doing?" "Suppressing the pulse," she whispered. "But I cannot do it for long." Jack checked the radar. The ship was getting closer. 3,500 kilometers. 3,000 kilometers. Too fast. Too close. He turned to Lyra. "If they catch us, they'll take you, or kill you, or worse." "I'm not letting that happen." Her breathing became sharp. "You still have time to leave me. Run, save yourself." Jack shook his head. "Not happening." He sat beside her. "If we're bonded now, then I protect you. That's my side of the deal, right?" Her eyes filled with emotion. "Yes." Jack suddenly had an idea. "You said the bond lets you feel me, like through space." "Yes." "What if we use that?" She looked confused. "Use it how?" "I'll jump out of the ship, in a pod. I'll fly the pod away. If they follow the bond, they'll follow me, not you." Lyra's eyes widened. "No, you will die. Not if I'm fast." He said, "I'll buy you time to escape." She shook her head. "I will not let you break the bond that way. We are linked. If you die, part of me dies too." The ship's alarm screamed louder now. "Target locked. Missile system detected. Attack imminent." Jack turned to her. "Then we run together." He hit the emergency warp drive. The ship jumped. For a moment, everything turned white. Then darkness. The ship fell out of warp space, spinning, systems offline, shields down. They had escaped the hunters, but they were lost in deep space now. Far from Earth, far from help, but still together, still bonded, still alive. Asterisk. The escapee ship spun slowly in the void of space. Systems were failing, lights flickered. Gravity pulled unevenly. The last warp jump had saved them from the hunters, but it came with a cost. Jack held the control stick tightly, trying to steady the ship. Sparks flew from a broken panel behind him. Main engine offline, the AI reported. Navigation system corrupted. Location unknown. Emergency life support active for 72 hours. Jack looked at Lyra. She sat on the floor, her back against the wall, eyes half closed. The bond mark on her chest was dim now. Her energy drained from blocking the signal and surviving the jump. "Hey," Jack said, moving to her. "Stay with me." Her eyes fluttered open. "I feel heavy," she whispered. "You use too much power." Jack said softly, "You need rest." She shook her head. "There is no time. If the hunters find us again, they won't." Jack said, forcing confidence into his voice. "They can't follow a jump that far without coordinates. Right now, they're blind." He wasn't sure if that was true, but he needed her to believe it. He stood up and moved toward the engine. The damage was bad. Wires were melted, coolant leaked across the floor. The warp core was cracked. This wasn't just a broken ship. This was a coffin drifting in space. Jack sighed, wiped his face, and turned back. "We're stuck, unless," he paused, "unless someone finds us." But Earth had already ordered him to surrender Lyra, and if he sent a signal, they'd track it. If the hunters heard it too, it would be a death sentence. There was only one option left. He had to call the Black Channel. It was a secret, illegal distress network used by smugglers, pirates, and exiles, dangerous, unpredictable, but sometimes Helpful. Jack opened the comms panel and activated it. A voice answered after 30 seconds. Static covered the sound, but it was human. Speak your deal. Jack hesitated. Small civilian ship, lost, need repairs, no weapons, I can pay. How much? Information, Jack said. Rare, alien tech, first contact, silence, then the voice replied. Slower this time, coordinates, Jack gave them, knowing there was no going back. Lyra looked up weakly. You trust them? No, Jack admitted. But I trust a slow death less. 2 hours passed in quiet darkness. Then something blinked on the radar. A small freighter ship dropped out of warp nearby. It was old, patched with metal from a dozen different models. The name printed on its side, Ghost Runner. Jack opened the airlock. A tall woman in a dark coat stepped inside. With 2 armed crew members, her eyes were sharp, scanning everything. Fast, name's Rhea, she said, captain of the Ghost Runner. You've got 5 minutes to explain why I shouldn't take your ship and leave you both floating. Jack gestured to Lyra because she's not just cargo, she's the last Virellan. Rhea's eyes narrowed. That species is extinct, she's proof they're not, Jack said, and Earth wants her badly, so do others. Help us. And I'll give you part of her tech memory core. Could be worth a fortune. Lyra looked at Jack. Surprised, he gave her a small nod, silently saying, trust me? I'm bluffing. Rhea thought for a moment, then she smiled. You're either crazy or brave. I like both. She waved her hand. Patch their engine. We'll give them fuel and coordinates for a safe zone 1 jump away, but after that we're square. Jack nodded. Fair. 3 hours later, the ship was working again, just barely. Jack set the new course, checked systems, and looked at Lyra. You okay to jump? She nodded weakly. Yes, but Jack, what? She looked into his eyes. I feel something strange. In the bond, he paused. What kind of strange? She touched her chest. Fear, but not mine, yours. Jack hesitated, then said quietly, yeah, I'm afraid. Of what? That I won't be able to protect you. Lyra touched his hand. You already are. They jumped. They landed in a quiet part of space, an old abandoned moon station orbiting a dying star. Once used by miners, now silent, hidden. Jack parked the ship inside one of the underground hangars. Cold dust fell from the ceiling. The lights barely worked. It was the perfect place to hide. But peace didn't last long. That night, while Jack was repairing the outer hull, he heard something, a sound like a whisper inside metal. He turned quickly. No one. Then the whisper came again, louder this time. He ran back inside. Lyra was awake, standing in the center of the room, her body glowing. Eyes wide with shock. They found us. Jack's stomach dropped. How? I don't know, but they are near, closer than before. Jack checked the radar. Nothing, but Lyra pointed upward. Not in space, she whispered. Below. On this moon, the signal wasn't coming from the stars. It was already here. The Virellan trial there beneath the old moon station felt heavy. As if the past was hiding in the dust, Jack followed Lyra through a narrow tunnel. His flashlight flickering across ancient walls carved with glowing symbols, the path went deep. Beneath the surface, beyond the hangars and forgotten mining equipment, it felt less like a base and more like a tomb. Where are we going? Jack whispered, his voice echoing strangely. To the heart of my people, Lyra replied. To the place where the bond must be judged. Jack stopped walking. Judged? Lyra turned to him. Her face was calm, but her eyes were full of worry. You entered the bond by saving my life. But the bond is not complete, not without the trial. If we do not pass, the connection may be broken or worse. Jack's breath caught in his throat. Worse? She nodded. If they judge you unworthy, they can sever the bond. Through force, painful, final. Jack looked around. The air was growing warmer. The glowing lines along the wall were moving like veins under skin. Something was waking up down here. They entered a wide chamber carved from black stone. At its center stood a circle of tall, silent figures in flowing robes. Their faces were hidden by golden masks. The air shimmered with power. The Virellan court, even in their weakened state, they were terrifying. Ancient, powerful, watching. Lyra stepped forward and spoke in her language. Her voice clear and respectful. Jack didn't understand the words, but he could feel the meaning. She was presenting him, asking for judgment, for acceptance. One of the masked figures finally spoke. A deep, layered voice echoed in Jack's mind. Not through ears but through thoughts. The bond has been activated. The human saved the last of our line, but is he worthy? Has he earned the link? We shall see. Suddenly, the floor beneath Jack began to glow. The walls disappeared in light. He wasn't standing in the chamber anymore. He was somewhere else. Alone, the first trial. Kurjith's sky above was black. The ground was made of broken stone. Jack stood on the edge of a crumbling bridge that hung over an endless pit. On the far side, he saw Lyra tied, surrounded by fire. A deep voice said, will you cross the bridge, even if it may kill you? Jack didn't wait. He ran. The bridge cracked with every step. Stone crumbled beneath his boots. Wind howled in his ears. He jumped, slipped, grabbed the edge. His fingers bled as he pulled himself up. He reached her. She vanished. The voice whispered, "You chose danger for another, courage proven." The second trial, truth. No, he stood in a mirror room. All around him, reflections of himself. But they weren't exact. One version of Jack wore an Earth military suit. Another wore black armor. Another held Lyra's glowing device in his hands, smiling. Like a thief. Each version spoke, "You're doing this for love, no. For power, no. You just want to be the hero." The real Jack shouted, "I didn't ask for this. But I won't run from it either." The mirrors cracked. The real one remained. The voice echoed, "Truth." Revealed, the third trial, sacrifice. No, he was back on his ship, alarms screaming. A missile locked onto their engine. If he stayed, both he and Lyra would die. If he launched her escape pod alone, she would live. But he would not. The voice said, "One life must be given. One must remain." Jack didn't hesitate. He turned to the pod, set it to launch, entered the code, and stepped back. The voice spoke once more, calmer now. "Sacrifice, accepted." Then he blinked. And the vision disappeared. He was back in the chamber, gasping for breath, covered in sweat. Lyra rushed to him. Her eyes were full of tears. "You passed," she whispered. "You did it." The Virellan elders stepped forward. They raised their hands together. A blue flame appeared between them. It floated above Jack's chest, then sank slowly inside him. The bond mark on Lyra's chest glowed brighter. So did one now forming faintly on Jack's skin. "Bond completed," the voice said. "The human has earned it. The protector lives." For a moment, everything was silent. Until boom. The chamber shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. A sharp alarm rang across the station. Jack turned toward the surface. "What was that?" One of the elders replied, "Your enemies have arrived, Earth's ships and something worse." Jack's heart raced. "How did they find us?" Lyra closed her eyes. "They followed the trial. The bond creates a signal when tested. We lit a beacon and now they come." Another boomed. The tunnel behind them collapsed. Lights died one by one. Jack looked at Lyra. "Then we fight," he said. "No," the elder said. "You escape, but not alone, from the shadows, for more." Virellan stepped forward. "Silent survivors, hidden for years, now awakened. You are not the only protector anymore," the voice said. "Take our last strength and run." Jack stared as the ancient aliens placed their hands on Lyra's shoulders. Their power flowed into her like fire into ice. She screamed once, then stood taller, stronger. The last Virellan bond was complete. The last trial passed, but the war was just beginning. Asterisk war or peace. The sky above the moon turned red. Jack stood at the broken edge of the underground hangar, staring at the orbit screen. Multiple ships had just dropped out of warp. Earth's fleet. 3 destroyers, 2 science vessels, 1 dreadnought. All armed, all surrounding the small moon like lions around prey. A message came through. "Jack Harper, this is Commander Rains of Earth Defense. You are holding a hostile unknown. Surrender the alien life form immediately or be fired upon." Jack's jaw clenched. Lyra stood behind him, her skin glowing faintly, her breathing slow but calm. The ancient power she received during the trial still flowed through her veins. She was no longer weak. She was becoming something more. "They're serious," Jack said quietly. "They'll kill us." "No," Lyra replied, her voice steady. "They want me alive, but only as a weapon." He turned to her. "We can't fight them. There's too many." Then another sound hit the radar. Multiple warp signatures. Again. Not Earth, something else. Jack's heart dropped. The hunters, the red symbols filled the radar. Shadow-like warship, sleek, black, silent, appeared in the distance behind Earth's fleet. Now Earth and the hunters stared at each other, both locked onto the same moon. Both ready to kill, one for control, one for revenge. And Jack, he was in the middle again. The Earth commander sent another message. "Harper, listen to me. Bring her out. We'll protect you. You're a hero, son. Help us understand her tech. Help us save billions." Jack looked at the screen, then looked at Lyra. Her eyes were already wet. "They lie," she whispered. "They don't want to save. They want to dominate." He believed her, but they were outgunned, outnumbered, alone. Suddenly, Ria's voice crackled through a hidden channel. "Ghost Runner here. I'm still in orbit. Brought a few friends from the Black Channel. You need a door out. I'll make one." Jack blinked. "You came back," Ria replied. "Yeah, well, I like hopeless cousins. You got 5 minutes." Jack looked at Lyra. "We don't have time. They'll destroy the moon." Lyra stepped forward. "There may be a way." She raised her hand and the air shimmered. A hidden room behind the chamber opened. Inside was an ancient device glowing softly in the dark. "What is it?" Jack asked. Lyra looked at him. "A shield, a choice. My ancestors built this to protect our last hope. But once used it burns out forever." She walked slowly to it. "If I activate it, the energy field will cover the moon. No ship can enter or leave. But only one of us can escape before it locks. Jack stepped forward. No, yes, she said, you must go, you're the link to peace. If Earth hears your voice they may listen, they know you, I'm not leaving you behind. If you don't, then both sides will destroy each other. Earth and the hunters will start a war over me. That war will spread, billions will die. Jack shook his head. There's got to be another way. She walked to him and took his hand. There is, she whispered, but only if you're willing to risk everything. Jack looked into her eyes. He had faced trials, faced death, fought for her, bled for her, felt the bond inside his soul. He would not abandon her now. He nodded. We do this together, one last chance. Jack sent a message on a public channel, open to all ships. His voice was steady, calm. Broadcast across space. This is Jack Harper, former mechanic, now bonded to the last of the Virelin. Listen to me, you came here for fear, for control, but I'm not offering a weapon, I'm offering peace. He paused. She carries knowledge, not destruction. Her people were protectors, not killers. We failed to understand them once. Don't make the same mistake again. On the radar. Earth's fleet paused. The hunters didn't fire, not yet. Then Jack said the last part. If you fire now, know this, the bond is complete. If she dies, so do I. That's the price. Silence. Then Rhea's ship dropped in low and fired EMP flares between the fleets. The space lit up like fireworks. Confusion. Smoke. Suddenly, a ship from Earth's fleet turned its weapons away. A captain sent a single line of text, standing down. More followed, but the hunters weren't listening. They launched a missile straight for the moon. Lyra raised her hands, she closed her eyes, and released everything. A massive, glowing blue shield erupted from the ancient device. It covered the moon. The missile hit the field and disintegrated into light. Silence returned. But Lyra collapsed to her knees, glowing fiercely, her body shaking. Jack rushed to her, held her. She opened her eyes slowly. I gave all I had. Jack held her tightly. No, he said, you gave us a chance. On the screen, the radar changed. The hunter ships, confused, outmatched, began to retreat, one by one. The Earth fleet stayed in orbit. Watching. Waiting. For orders, but not firing, not now. And deep inside the moon, two lives sat in the darkness. The bond between them stronger than ever. The war had not begun, but peace had not won yet either. The bond that saved two worlds shield still glowed above the moon outside. The stars held their breath. Earth's fleet stayed silent. Their guns powered down, hovering like nervous giants. The hunter ships floated at a distance, no longer advancing, but watching with cold eyes. They had all seen it, the energy, the shield, the choice, and at the heart of it was her. Lyra lay in Jack's arms, her silver skin dimmer now. Her breath was shallow, like a candle in wind. The bond mark on her chest blinked softly, weak, but still alive. Jack pressed his hand against hers. Stay with me, he whispered. I'm still here, she replied, her voice barely audible. But the shield, it took almost everything. Jack's jaw tightened. Rest, I'll handle the rest. He stood up, slowly, and turned on the comms again. Earth command, this is Jack Harper. You saw what happened. She could have attacked. She didn't. She chose to protect even you. There was silence, then a reply. Commander Raines's voice came through, slower now, controlled. We recognize the threat has shifted. Your actions prevented a larger conflict. Earth leadership is requesting negotiation terms, but the alien must surrender her tech. Jack's voice turned cold. No, she's not a prisoner, not a lab sample. She's a person. We can't trust an unknown species. Jack looked at Lyra. Then trust me. A pause. We'll send one diplomat, unarmed. You have 1 hour. Jack turned off the comm. 1 hour later, a small shuttle landed in the hangar. A woman stepped out. Alone, dressed in light armor but carrying no weapon. Dr. Ellen Mayfield, she said, offering her hand. Linguist, cultural officer. Jack shook it. Jack, mechanic, trouble magnet. She smiled softly. Then she saw Lyra and her smile faded. You're Virelin? Lyra nodded weakly from where she sat, now leaning against the wall. Yes, doctor. Mayfield's voice trembled. We thought your kind were extinct. So did we, Lyra said. Then Jack stepped in. She's the last. And if we don't handle this right, it won't just be her species we lose, it'll be both of ours. Dr. Mayfield's eyes met Jack's. What are you suggesting? A plan, a bold one, risky, dangerous. But the only way forward, Jack explained. If Earth wants trust, the hunters want silence, Lyra wants peace, so let's give them all something. Lyra looked at him, surprised. You mean, give them the core? Jack nodded, half. He turned to Dr. Mayfield. She carries ancient Virelin memory, culture, knowledge. And maybe weapons. She'll offer Earth access to everything: peaceful, healing, science, history. But nothing destructive. Dr. Mayfield hesitated. And what about the hunters? Jack looked out the window toward the stars. We call them here, publicly, to a council on this moon. No lies, no secrets, just truth. Broadcast the bond. Broadcast what Lyra did. Let everyone see what peace actually costs. Lyra's eyes widened. You're asking the galaxy to choose. I'm daring them to, Jack said. The signal was sent. An open broadcast. Translated into over 300 languages. It showed Lyra shielding Earth's fleet, saving lives. It showed her weakness, her choice, her bond with Jack, their shared pain and hope. The signal spread like fire. Planets started responding, some with fear, some with awe, some with respect. And then a new ship arrived, not Earth. Not hunters, something older. Wiser. A neutral vessel from the Galactic Council, a group that hadn't spoken to Earth in decades. They had heard the message, and they came to witness. Days passed. Earth agreed to peace talks. The hunters, angry but unsure, agreed to pause attacks until a decision could be made. Jack stood beside Lyra at the center of the moon's ancient hall. The Galactic Council had converted it into a neutral court. Jack spoke first. He told the story. Not as a soldier, not as a hero, but as a man who found someone worth saving, and who learned what it meant to be truly human by bonding with someone who wasn't. Then Lyra spoke, her voice shaking. At first grew strong. She told them about the fall of her people, about the bond, about choosing mercy over war. The council listened. And when she finished, there was silence, then applause. 3 weeks later, the bond was recognized. Earth signed a treaty officially acknowledging Lyra's rights as a sentient being and protector of Virellan heritage. The hunters withdrew from war under the council's pressure. Jack and Lyra were offered places on the first interspecies alliance team. He said yes. She smiled and said yes too, on the deck of a new ship, not his old junker, but a council vessel. Jack watched the stars fly past. Lyra stood beside him, her hand found his. Do you regret it? She asked. Jack smiled. I saved your life once. She looked at him, glowing gently. And you saved mine every day after that. He turned to her. We didn't just stop a war. He said. No. She replied. We started something better. They looked out into the stars. Together. Bonded. Alive. Free.